Is officially, I think, March 24th now, March 24th, 2026. We'll be talking once again about, I just finished a workout, so I'm in the gym, and that outside is downtown Houston, fourth largest city in the nation. I'll be talking about relationships, and I think you need to be the alpha seed and not the beta need side of women's dual mating strategy. And what is dual mating strategy? Well, dual, because some people might not know what alpha seed beta need is. And dual mating strategy is a strategy that women have where the alpha seed side or the alpha bang side is the side that women employ when they see a man and he is sexually arousing, he is physically stimulating, whatever it is about his presence makes them say, I want his genes badly. I want those genes inside me so I can perpetuate a strong line of offspring. And that is going on in every woman at every age because it never turns off. And some women might say, well, I'm not thinking about having a baby. You might not be thinking about having a baby, but that's what is operating all the time when we're looking for a sexual partner. Men, too, have their own strategies. It's different than women, right? Ours is to perpetuate our genes everywhere. So it's to want opportunities with numerous different women, and so whatever, it's how we work. They're features, not bugs. So the beta need side of women is they need protection, they need a man who can parent with them, and they need a man who can provide for them. Because in our world, when we were cavemen, which is who we still are, is women needed a man around to help her be protected, help her provide for her child, and help her parent her child. So it's the resources model. And so that's a different guy than the guy who is going to sexually stimulate her usually, and the one that she's going to want to procreate with quickly. The alpha seed guy is the guy that she has to have those genes now. I'm not waiting. I don't care. Back of a truck, cool. Inside a bathroom, great. Back closet of a church, no problem. He's that hot. And a little bit facetious, but it's not bad. It is what it is. So to me, and women are going to deny this to most men, and especially beta men, because if they admitted it, then the beta men wouldn't provide for them. So they can't admit it. So, it's okay that they reputation control and say, well, I want an intelligent guy, a kind guy, blah, blah, blah. But what they won't say is, that hot guy, at the club, she has sexual relations with him very quickly, and with another beta male, it's I got to get to know you, right? Just earlier today, in fact, I saw the Jeremy Meeks. He's if you don't know who he is, apparently he was called the Hot Felon years ago, and his mugshot went viral, and apparently, he was going to jail in California. And he told the story. I just watched a little bit of it, but bottom line is, this is a prisoner. He doesn't have any money. His status is very low amongst our, social hierarchies that normal people would think of, and yet women were sending him over 300 letters a day from all over the world. He said he didn't have time to read them. They were saying they would do all kinds of things to him. They didn't know this guy. They didn't need to get to know him at all. But this is the reality. The hot felon, was in prisoner. He had other prisoners reading his mail saying, yeah, look what this girl wants to do with you and do to you. And so that's who women are. And it's a beautiful thing, I think. We can sit there and get mad about it, or we can sit there and embrace it and learn the rules, right? I think we should learn the rules. I said that when we know the rules, we can operate properly. And I've been using criminal cases to highlight why you should be alpha seed and not beta need. And today I'll use the case of Jaime Faith and Jennifer Faith. This case happened in Dallas, Texas. And as you looked out the window there inside the gym, that was I-45. Dallas is located 3.5 hours north of Houston. I've been on that travel several times, but in the Jaime and Jennifer Faith case, this is a case, like I just said, happened in Dallas. Jaime Faith and Jennifer Faith met in Arizona, and Jaime was a confirmed bachelor for most of his life, and I think he reached like his mid-30s maybe. That's what it looked like. And he met Jennifer Faith in Arizona, and at that time he was working for American Airlines, and they had a good relationship. They said that their relationship sparked off quickly, and they got married in Las Vegas, came back to Arizona, and had a family. Jennifer Faith, his wife, she had a prior daughter. Her name was Amber, and Jaime, took her in as his own when he was a stepfather. They said he was very kind and very, engaged in her life. And a lot of his friends were surprised by that, because he's always said he never wanted kids and he was cool being a bachelor. And in fact, he was so involved in her life, when she turned 18, he adopted her as his own, which is great. And he had a shirt on that said, the best guy this daughter knows. And so, he was that guy. The guy that, looked after her, gave her a home, and didn't need anything, He just wanted to provide for Jennifer, So that's pretty cool. But that's the beta side, the side that I don't think, in my opinion, women care about. They might like it, but I don't think you're fully respected in that role, Jaime, they said loved his wife, gave her a home, took care of her daughter, and provided for her. And in the end, he met his demise through her manipulation into another person, hiring them to kill him. And so, that's just the thanks he got, and I keep, talking about this, saying, why would you want to be this guy? Why would you want to be the beta male plow horse? The women don't seem to appreciate it. And if you feel differently, that's fine. But I think these examples show that they don't. So going further, so in the story, Jaime, so he gets a promotion, and him and his wife move from Arizona to Dallas. I believe Dallas is the headquarters of American Airlines, and he becomes a director of technology. And so while they're there living in Dallas with, the family life, the regular American dream, with a nice home in the suburbs, Oak Cliff, Dallas. That's the first thing you usually come by when you're entering Dallas from Houston. Everything's going great. And apparently, through the investigation, they're able to get Jennifer's communications, her email and her phone. And in that, she apparently notified a friend that she had met or had reconnected with an old boyfriend who she dated in high school. And his name was Darren Lopez. And both of them, for the last 6 months, unbeknownst to Jaime, they had been having some online, connection / sexual affair over the internet. Nothing physical, apparently. Just a lot of sexting, a lot of pictures, a lot of hot stories, which, women love this stuff. And I recommend to guys, do not text women. If you're not meeting with them, if you're not, being physically engaged with them, do not text with them. Do not text with them. They will take up all your time. Women love attention, and women love stories. As an experiment, I've read 2 romance novels, and women love these things, and they are awful, in my opinion. They're very graphic, and they're just, to me, they're awful. But women love them. The sexuality explained in them is just over the top. It's crazy. Women love a story, and women love a fantasy. And so if you're sitting there text messaging and back and forth, they'll go days, weeks, months, and you'll have this fake secret love affair online, and I've been involved in that, and it didn't work out. So I mean, take my 50 years of wisdom, and it didn't work out. And I even said at the time to the person that it didn't work out with, I was down. I wasn't happy about, I was like, I wanted to work out, but I had said, we had been talking to each other for 3 weeks, and we had been calling each other king and queen, and then when she came and I said, since you've been in Houston and we've been hanging out, have I called you queen? Have you called me king? I said that was fake. It was fake what we were doing on the internet. And I said, who we were on the internet is not who we've been in public or together. So they don't work. So don't do it. It also gives women a chance to manipulate you, and women are good at manipulating men. So just don't do it. So anyway, Jennifer and Darren were sending over 500 messages a day to each other. And over the course of their, texting back and forth, they have sent over 116,000 messages to each other. And so in those messages, Jennifer Faith was, and like I said, she was manipulating Darren into hating her husband. She was claiming, what have I said that women will do to manipulate men? They will use the abuse card, the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, and we all know the S abuse, right? So that's what she was doing, saying that all this stuff was going on. And that, what they're trying to do there is get you to feel sorry for them and tap into your instinct to provide. And tap into your instinct to protect them. And we have an instinct to protect women. It's our love for them. It's not a bug, it's a feature for men. So, and women know this, right? And women also know that they can employ certain men, like I've told you before, is women know who they're dealing with when they're dealing with you. You may think that you have given a woman, this archetype, that she's dealing with, but she may know the archetype that you're putting forth might not be the archetype that she knows you are. Women quickly know if you're a beta. Women quickly know if you're alpha to her. And women quickly know if you're confident, but they know. Even though you think you might have them fooled, you don't. Trust me. They've been doing this a long time, and women can recognize patterns quickly. So she has manipulated Darren into hating her husband, and she was found not only have to do this to him, she did this to another ex-husband of hers, the one right before Jaime. She had manipulated him using the same tactics that she was being physically, emotionally, and abused by this man. And her husband before Jaime said he was so angry he wanted to do some harm to the guy. I mean, he hated him. And, and luckily nothing ever happened there, but same tactics, same playbook, right? And so, once again, if you're leading a situation, if you're the alpha in the situation, and you know who you are, you don't get bent by women. Women don't tell you what to do. You tell them what to do. Because you know your identity. You're a moral person. You're a person of character. You're a person that stands on their square, and you're not bent. So they won't even try it. If you want me, you're telling me this sob story, and you want me to harm a guy, lady, hey, look, that ain't me. This man does not do that. So we can talk about something else. Sorry you were abused, but we're going to talk about something else. Go to the police if you need to. We're done. Because you know who you are. It's like, so you ain't going to manipulate me. And by the way, we ain't going to talk about your ex like that, because I don't need to hear about some BS about him, because I don't know the man. So I ain't gonna believe your story, which you shouldn't believe women's story right off, right? Because they are image controllers and reputation controllers, right? So not a problem. They should be. But anyway, going forward is Jennifer had sent so many messages, all this stuff, and she had gotten Darren hating this guy, hating her husband, Jaime. I mean, he hated him. Well, in sending the text, they also found emails that she sent, but she had created 2 fake accounts. One was in the name of her husband. Her husband was Jaime Faith. It was like JaimeFaith.com, and she was sending stuff from that email to Darren, saying that, taunting Darren that he was going to, have some kind of way with his wife, and he was going to do this to her, and he was going to abuse her like this. And I mean, they were all fake, you know, but Darren doesn't know this. He thinks they're real. And if I'm seeing those, that's taunting. It's, you know, unfortunately, he should have said, hey, quit sending me these emails and go to police, lady. You know, quit trying to lead my life. I don't, like, I know my identity. I am not going to do anything to your husband. But I do want to make sure you're safe. Go to the police. If she's not going to the police, that ain't your problem. You ain't a woman's therapist. You ain't a woman's problem solver, you know, because they're an adult. Solve your own problems. Quit crying to me about them. But the fact of the matter is, you know, she didn't. You know, Darren did not, you know, do that. He kept listening, and he became her pawn, a puppet in her little show. So she also created a second email account. It was from a fake friend. And the friend was saying, Darren, I just saw Jennifer, and she's terrible, and she needs help. I wish I could help her, blah, 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 you know, and again, manipulating him. And the poor guy, you know, he's a Special Forces retired Army guy who is a big badass, you know, that will take care of business if he needs to. And she knows this. Like I said, women know who you are. She needed a guy to take care of business, apparently. And she found the guy to do it because she knows how to manipulate men to get them to do what she wants. And so, after all these, you know, emails and all this manipulating, she finally got Darren to act. I mean, this is a hero. This is a hero of our society. A Special Forces retired Army Purple Heart Award winner. A hero. She's this woman that is not a hero. And in fact, I mean, I hate to be nasty, but she was a sloppy, overweight, obese piece of crap. And I'm sorry, you know, it's just who she was. And she has manipulated a hero of ours. And that's why I want to look out for men in this regard, man. So anyway, so she gets him to drive he lived in Tennessee, and she gets him to drive from Tennessee to Dallas. And he arrives in Dallas the 2 a.m., October the 9th at 2 a.m. And he waits. And for him, this probably was nothing. You know, he probably done this a million times, and he had harder missions, you know, than this, right? And so he waits from 2 a.m. till 7:30 a.m. in the morning, basically next door. And he was caught on surveillance waiting there. And at 7:30, Jennifer and Jaime are going to go out and walk the dog. Now, they're in a suburban Dallas, you know, city or whatever, and in a nice neighborhood where you wouldn't think you'd have any problems, right? And not dangerous, not threatening, you know, and they're going out to walk the dog. So Jaime had no idea that his wife has been communicating for 6 months with her ex-boyfriend. He has no idea he's been sending her, you know, fake messages from him. He has no idea he's been accused of sexual assault and stuff like that. He has no idea. And so when they're going out to walk the dog, it's just a great day for him. And he's actually captured on Ring camera, his own Ring camera, wearing a t-shirt and some shorts, and his wife walking in front of him and has the dog. Now, this is diabolical. She knows at that moment, because in several seconds, he's going to be confronted by Darren, and he's going to be pumped full of lead. And he has no idea this is about to happen, but his wife does. His wife, who he's been taking care of, who he's been providing for, who he has adopted her daughter, is going to not give a damn about his fate coming up. And you see, I mean, it's just awful. It's awful, you know. But why do I push so hard in this argument? Because, you know, I believe that, you know, women do not respect, and when they don't respect you for who you are, you know, and what you stand for, and you're only providing and you know, and parenting and the beta side, they don't care what happens to you. They really, really don't. And it doesn't always have to be, obviously, in this kind of victimization, but it can be in the taking half your stuff, taking your children, talking crap about you, ruining your reputation, taking your house. I mean, that's a different kind of death, right? But it's all the same. They don't care. And when women don't care, they are ruthless and they are ice cold. And that's what I'm trying to get across. And not to say that they're not wonderful people. It's just, you got to know how they operate so you can operate, you know, in the most effective way. So that's what happens at about 7:30 in the morning while they're walking the dog. Darren Lopez ambushes Jaime, and he shoots him 3 times in the head, 3 times in the chest, and 1 time in the groin. Why do you think that? Well, the groin is because she's been saying all this terrible stuff about him, and what he's been doing to her is all fake, and he speeds off. Darren speeds off, and Jaime obviously is left there, and he is DOA. And so the ultimate betrayal. That's a victimization, to the highest degree. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe, how someone could do that, but the fact is they can, right? And you don't want to be that person. So always be around people that respect you. And if they don't respect you, then, love yourself enough to move on, okay? Especially with women. If they don't respect you, you need to move on, and move on quickly, because they obviously don't care. So after that, police do an investigation. They have the suspect vehicle, which is a black, it's like a Nissan Titan, I think. Titan, yeah. It's got a big T in the back, right? They put it on the news, and Jennifer Faith, his wife, who was with him that day, and she had gotten her ring stolen, and she got knocked to the ground, and she got her hands taped behind her with duct tape from the crook, from the killer. And so she was putting that out on the TV, and look, that's a woman that has never been involved in crime, because anybody that has been, they're going to go ahead and do away with your husband, yet they're going to steal your rings and put you in duct tape. Like, nah, lady, you're an idiot, So that's a woman that's trying to write a story and doesn't know how crime works. But anyway, so the police were already kind of questioning that. What's up with this, right? And some of her friends asked her, why'd they only kill Jaime? Why not you? And she said, well, I think they ran out of bullets, Oh, really? Yeah, well, that 45 caliber Glock that he used carries 13 rounds. They only use 7, so come on. I think your friends could do the math, right? They were all kind of like, what, So they start looking for Darren, because what they find in the investigation is that they were sending all these messages back and forth for 6 months. And so they're like, aha, I think we got our suspect. So they go look at his house, and lo and behold, what's there? His truck. The truck that's found on surveillance video. So they do a traffic stop on him. It's got the big T in the back, which means Tennessee, not Texas Rangers. And they find, inside the truck, they find the 45 caliber pistol, which then ends up matching the rounds that were the casings that were on the ground beside Jaime. And so it's pretty much linked that, Darren has done this. Once they figured that out, and the whole time, Jennifer, they haven't, come down and arrested her yet. They haven't put it all together. She's doing news clips and news videos. Help find the guy, please, please, please. I mean, this duplicitous that she's, putting forth, but she's a manipulator. And a lot of women can manipulate very well. And I think it's a feature, not a bug. It's okay. Be manipulated to do the right things, not bad things. And so she's all over the news. And just because a woman's saying something don't mean that it's what you should believe. Always watch what women are doing, not what they're saying. Because she looks very believable on these talks to the press. And going further, while she's doing those interviews, everybody was sad about this. This super nice guy, super awesome dude is gunned down in front of his house. The Dallas community was upset, and so people were donating to a GoFundMe that one of her friends set up, and it had reached $60,000. And the more she did these news interviews, the more it would build the account. So of course she's going on. She knows where her bread is buttered. So she's doing these news interviews. She knew who did it. She set it up. So anyway, she had a $60,000 GoFundMe account. Well, guess who gets that money? Darren. She sends that money to Darren. She bought him some airline tickets. She bought him a bunch of stuff. She was very kind to him. What do I say? Alpha seed. We talk about some of these women on TikToks, and they need this much money for their nails, and they need their hair done. They need you to buy them dinner, and they need you to buy them this, and they won't be with a man that won't get them this and buy them this. And I'm telling you, it's different for Alpha Seed. We've seen in these criminal cases, she basically gave him the $60,000 basically. The money was spent within 2 months. I mean, go figure, right? What a way to budget. She gave him a credit card. She gave him a American Express black card, I think what it was, and she sent him a message saying, this card has no limit, so don't worry, spend whatever you want. And then she also gave him a MasterCard, and she sent him the message of, this card has a $35,000 limit. Don't worry, I pay these off every month. So, these guys that think that women need their nails done, and they need their rent paid, and they don't need that for the alpha seed. That guy gets a $35,000 limit on his credit card and a unlimited amount on the American Express, and she's saying she'll pay for it, right? And that happens. Trust me. I've lived that life. I'm not trying to brag, but it's out there, and a lot of guys haven't seen that, And I'm not flexing. I'm just saying it exists. Women will pay for your stuff if they respect you enough and they see you high enough value in their eyes. They will do that. Like I said, she blows the money within 2 months of that. But she's also looking for the life insurance. They won't let go of the life insurance as far as, because she's still considered a suspect prior to her arrest. And she has the nerve, the righteous indignation to go. She told her friend, Darren, I'm going to call that detective and let him know, what the F is going on. I want my money. And so, you think about the ruthlessness of a woman, I tell you, she was so righteously upset, and she's the one who did all this stuff. So, go figure. She's gonna tell somebody what the F is going on when you set up a murder, and they haven't cleared you because you're still considered a suspect, because you are the suspect. But yet she's angry. Oh boy. In the prior case I did, Monica Cementelli, she did the same thing, by the way. She did the same thing. But anyway, moving on and concluding this is Jennifer Faith is first picked up on obstruction of justice charges because she was deleting text, and she also was telling Darren to remove that T from his truck that was very conspicuous in the surveillance photos of his car. She said remove it so that the police can't find you. So that's obstructing justice, right? She's trying to destroy evidence. So that's initially what they pick her up on. And they pick Darren up on, obviously the murder charge. And Darren's convicted of the murder charge. He's received 62 years. I mean, an American hero who's always been a hero to this country for 20 years. And that's how he goes down. And unfortunately, he deserves every bit of it because you can't make that type of decision. You got manipulated by a woman. And that's the thing. A lot of guys are very effective in a lot of different fields, but you have to be effective. You have to be really effective with dealing with women, or that'll happen to you. I mean, so many guys go down because they don't know how to deal with women. And that's why it's so important that men get together, talk to each other, and learn strategies to effectively deal with women, because bad decisions with women can cost you your life and or your freedom, and this one did. So anyway, and then she gets upgraded in her charges because once they got to start going through the emails and cell phone or text, she gets charged with a federal crime of murder for hire. And she then realizes her goose is cooked, and she pleads to the charge of murder for hire. And to avoid the death penalty, she says she will do life in prison, and that's what she's doing in a federal prison. So, like I said, one guy's doing 62 years, and she's doing life. So, a tragedy for everybody involved, especially Jaime, who had no idea. Now, I will say this, just prior to concluding, is I have to, first of all, Jaime, we must honor him. He seemed like a super duper guy, just like all these other guys that we've talked about. I mean, just an amazing character, and we honor him, and we honor his memory. And this is not to degrade his memory. This one moment is not who he was. He was just an awesome dude, and adopted her daughter, but in the end, did he miss some signs? I guarantee, she's talking to Darren 500 messages a day. There had to have been some some withdrawing she was doing from him, whatever. But there had to have been some signs, and that's what you know, want, you know, men to see in their own relationships. If, you know, look at the signs. If you're feeling something's going on, you're probably right. Talk to another friend, a male friend. Talk to another male friend, maybe tell him what's going on. But like I said, if you're having those feelings, if something's probably going on. We're not dumb, and you're not dumb. Don't discount them. So anyway, and do the right things. You know, if you can take action early, you won't make rash decisions. Think logically, think rationally, and have some good friends, some good guy friends that can guide you through this. And they're very hard to deal with, and so that you can make the right rational and logical choices. But that is the Jaime Faith case, and once more, a tale in a cautionary tale. And you know, I believe in life you should be the alpha seed and not the beta knee, because in this case it didn't make her any more devoted, it didn't make her any more faithful, it didn't make her any more aroused to have him, it just made him a victim. So that's where we'll leave it.